What being upfront about your sexual intentions does is it puts a woman into a situation where she has to decide or come to the understanding of whether or not she's sexually attracted enough to you to deal with you, whether or not she actually just wants to do it at all. But then if she's attracted enough to do it at all, then she sets her price. When you're upfront about it and you don't get prematurely integrated and give a woman the opportunity to try to build a connection with you first, then she's going to expose what is her transaction for sex. That's how you figure out if a woman's a hoe. You don't find out if a woman's a hoe by and when I say hoe, I don't mean just a woman who likes sex. I'm talking about a woman who has a transactional sex mindset. There's short-term hoes, there's long-term hoes. Long-term hoe, that's a girl who will, she'll break you off some pussy even if she's not feeling you like that because you're her husband, right? Because you take care of her financially. That's a long-term hoe. That's acculturated prostitution. Then you got the short-term hoes, right? Those women, you take them out to a nice dinner. You know what I mean? If you take them out to a nice dinner, spend some money on them, get them a little something, then they'll do it for you. Cash app them. Then they'll do what you want them to do, right? And then $40 women. There's expensive hoes. There's cheap hoes. You know what I mean? And then outside of that, you also have the emotional hoes, right? For some women, they have their own money. It's not about money. For them, their mindset it's like this right here. Let me get to know you better first. If her mindset is she'll be willing to fuck with you if she get to know you better first, then there's a good chance that either she's playing you and not really sexually attracted or interested at all, or it could just be a situation where she trades the idea of love for sex, right? It's not even about the money. It's just a matter of she wants to feel like somebody cares about her, somebody gives a fuck, somebody who's emotionally available to her, and she's willing to have sex with somebody in exchange for that emotional thing, right? So it's like, let's say you're talking to a woman, you give her some instructions, you say what you're trying to do, you can expose where she at. She could be like, well, cash at me, or it's different things you can do it with. She might try to say all kind of shit to you. You don't know. It's like, especially if you casting a wide net, different variety of women, you're gonna get a different variety of responses. Every single one of them ain't gonna go for every single thing you put up. The dudes who get the most women have been rejected by the most women. You gotta understand that. And dudes be so scared of rejection out here that they don't understand that's just part of the game. So it's just like it exposes what her transaction is for. Now, if you start off giving her exactly what she wants from it, if you don't know what her transaction for sex is, then you're in a tough spot. Because let's say you start to like her, you in a situation, you're not going to know what to pull back from in order to get her to rev it up if she's getting too lazy, right? If you don't know if it's the emotion or the money, you might take the money away and she's still getting the emotion, and then now she's like, well, I got my own money, so that don't bother me, right? It may just be the fact that you have an emotional reaction at all, may be what keeps her around. Or it may just be the fact that you're being stoic, or it's different things it could be. Know what her transaction is for the sex. Now, this type of woman is not a hoe. It's a woman who's just sexually attracted to you. She feeling you. She want that dick. You tell her what's up. You tell her what you're trying to do. She on some yes sir, what time, I'm ready type of shit. She just down for it because she feeling you. That's who you want to deal with. Stop seeing women who move that way as hoes. Because I want to guarantee you something. For most women, there's going to be a man who they would or who they already have, and maybe several, who they would behave with that way for, who would turn them on in that way to where that's how they would interact with them. And do you really want to deal with a woman because you think she has good morals by not being sexually promiscuous, and then you think that she's not that sexual, and then you find out that she was like that for other men but not for you, and you trying to give her credit for having self-control and making you wait? It's like, that's goofy as hell. It's goofy. You got to reward the behavior you like to see if you feel so inclined. So what you got to do is expose what a woman's transaction is. Now, if a woman sees sex as, at minimum, a one-to-one transaction, and on a real good side, she wants that dick more than you want pussy, then you good. That's the situation where I say, take it forward some, get her into your program, see how y'all interact with one another, see if y'all vibe, see if y'all gel. And if that's how it work out, it's how it work out. You see where her mind's at, you see how she reciprocates, you see how she represents you. And if she does, man, then you in a good spot. You in a good spot. Because I had a video I made earlier this week that I posted talking about a woman's her relationship to sex when it comes to you, right? You got to know a woman's relationship to sex when it comes to you. And a big part of knowing a woman's relationship to sex when it comes to you is knowing how her mindset is transactional when it comes to sex. That's a big part of it. Now, I will throw this out there too. If you don't want it enough, like if it's too easy for you to exercise emotional discipline with a woman and you ain't got that much game, you probably not attracted to her enough for that to have the option of being a long-term relationship down the road. Now, what I will say is this, when you first start working on your game, there's going to be some women who are going to be bad. I said this before, and they may not be completely on your program, and you might tolerate it longer than you need to, even though you don't need to. That's just how the game works. That's the learning curve. There's going to be some other women, not as attractive, but they get with your program without a hitch. You got to learn how to treat those bad women the same way you treat those women who weren't as bad. Show that emotional discipline and reap those results, reap those benefits. You got to integrate that together too. So when we're just looking at this whole scenario, looking at all these different things, it's important to understand that a woman's relationship to sex when it comes to you is not something that just pops up one day down the line in a relationship. A lot of times it's going to pop up from day one because it's how transactional is her mindset when it comes to sex. If she wants to do it because she wants to do it and she's just highly sexually attracted to you, and then after the fact, let's say she part of your rotation, 3 link-ups in, separate link-ups in, or after 3, part of your rotation, all right, cool, you fucking with her. If that's the situation, right? If that's the certain situation, then now you're in a position where if she does it because she wants to and because she's sexually attracted to and desires you, then it's much easier to sustain that type of sexual relationship than it would be for a woman who, let's say, desires an emotional reciprocation. Because sometimes what a woman will do is be a nice girl. What a nice girl does, just like a nice guy, they give what they feel the other person wants to be reciprocated with up front in order to be reciprocated on the back end. If you running your game correctly, it may take you a little bit of time to vet a woman before she's ready to be your girl. It might take you a little bit of time, take you a good bit of time. And a nice girl is not going to be able to maintain, keeping up appearances long enough to make it there. Like a nice girl is different from a feminine submissive woman. She's not going to be able to maintain appearances long enough because she's going to fuck with you for a little while. But then even if the dick is good, she's going to start feeling some type of way because you're not her boyfriend. Or she might be trying to make you her boyfriend on day one. But she won't be able to maintain it but for so long because she knows how to be a chameleon. Feminine submissive woman is a woman who will listen to what you're saying. She starts soaking it in. She starts adopting your mindset, starts adopting your different ideas and how you want to do things and all that stuff. And she soaks it in. She learns. She's teachable. Not memorization, but actual learning, right? So these are just some things that are important to understand. Because like when I was talking about a woman's relationship to sex when it comes to you, when a woman has a transactional mindset when it comes to sex, that's going to hurt your relationship down the line. Because if she isn't getting those things on a consistency or the level that she wants, or her social programming makes her think she deserves more, or you start stepping up your masculinity and sometimes you got to put her on punishment, then, she going to feel some type of way, right? Or she might be tired or sleepy or whatever it is, hungry, and not be down to do it. You got to test that woman quickly, earlier on. Like when you first start fucking with her, that excitement is still there. Man, sometimes you got to wake her up out of her sleep at 4, 5, 6, 7 in the morning. Say, wake up so I can eat your pussy, blow your back out. I've done this. This is how I move. Very earlier on, I suggest in the first conversation, you make sure bitch is a regular part of your vocabulary. So she doesn't put you in the box of being a gentleman. It's certain things that you can do along the way that establish who you are as a man. Certain things you can do that establishes presenting yourself the way that you want to be seen, treated, and viewed. And the sooner you start establishing those things, and the sooner you understand her mindset when it comes to sex, when it comes to you, the better off you'll be.